All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Anti Shuffle Podcast, the one and only source for your local and international metal and alternative news, internationally and locally. I'm your host, one of your hosts here, a co host, Abdullah, also known as Mazaj, and with me as well, as always, my companion, my compadre, my friend, my colleague, Mansour.
Hello,
Mansour,
Allah. Nice.
how are you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling super excited about this one. It's a long time in the making, and yeah, we have a very special guest.
I'll be honest, I'm pretty tired. But the guest we have today is so awesome. I feel energetic. I feel a boost of energy, and I'm pretty excited. So you know what? Let's not waste any more time, Mansour. We have so much to talk about. This guest is filled to the brim with so much news and content and things that we need to ask and we need to know. There's so much stuff that we need to know that we can't waste any more time here. So Mansour, help me welcome
Absolutely.
our guest for today on this episode, Gigi. Hold on. She came back and forth there. Welcome to the show, Gigi. We need
Thank
to
you.
tighten
Wow,
up
that
these
was really
introductions.
awesome.
We need to tighten
Yeah.
up these introductions, but yeah, that was not
Yeah,
bad. That was okay.
that was awesome. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Finally, we've been
Finally.
rescheduling this for at least a month, Sah Abdullah.
Yeah,
Oh
we've
yeah.
been behind the scenes. We've been trying to get Gigi, and she's been telling us, "Listen, guys, let's just, I'm excited. I want to come on the episode, of course, but there's some
Yeah.
big news. There's some stuff happening, and finally, this big news happened. And we're gonna talk more about that later. But Gigi, why don't you? Let's assume people listening don't know who you are. We have like 10 people
Mm.
that like to listen to our podcast. Every episode, we're adding one more person that's listening to our podcast. That's a running joke, and we don't have a lot of listeners. But
Okay.
let's for the people that are listening, including my mom, let's tell them who's Gigi. What is it that you do, and what's your role in the scene here?
Okay. First of all, hi, Mom. Uh, so my name is Gigi, and I go by the name Gigi Arabia. And I run this heavy metal promotion company called Heavy Arabia Entertainment. Outside of Heavy Arabia, I also do artist management, and I'm just involved in the music business industry. That's what I do basically.
Awesome. Yeah, I think this is. We've been me and Mansour. We've been talking about having guests like you on the show. We always
Mm.
talk about music scene stuff, and we always نتكلم من كيسنا. We like as if we're experts. We barely we know what we know. But we don't know much. So like it's nice to have finally someone who's involved in the behind the scenes stuff. Who's gonna tell us a little bit about some of this behind the scenes stuff. So, but
Mm.
before we get there, this is at the end of the day a music focused podcast. So we always like to
Mm.
ask. We start by asking, what you've been listening to lately. Any interesting albums, any interesting releases, any interesting bands that you've been listening to lately, obsessing over that you want to tell us about, that you want to tell the listeners about.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people, like when they think of Gigi, they assume that she only listens to heavy metal. While of course, like heavy metal is my favorite genre, but I listen to all sorts of stuff.
Mm.
And sometimes it is surprising to some people what I listen to. Uh, like those toxic metal heads who would be like, but I thought,
Mm.
you wouldn't listen to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
So,
betrayed them. They feel like you betrayed them or something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or you're like a poser.
Yes, exactly. So I listen to a lot of um, shoegaze, dark wave. I
Okay.
really like that sort of stuff. And the other day I was laughing I was looking at my day list on Spotify. I'm not sure if you guys have figured out your day lists on Spotify, where it shows you like your playlists throughout the day. Oh, you're
Yeah,
not a
Um,
Spotify user, Abdullah. Okay,
yeah. I
but
canceled my Spotify
I
subscription.
yes, I
haven't
remember.
seen that feature, so
Yeah, and so my day lists, it's different in the morning, different in the afternoon, different in the evening, and different past midnight. But what I've been listening to lately is basically just the new releases by my favorite bands. Swallow the Sun just recently released their album Shining. I've been listening to that a lot.
Okay.
I've been listening to the new Kat Von D. If you want me to give an example of something that is not metal,
What does she
uh,
sound like? Pop? Like is it
it's
like in
it,
like
it's so
alternative
every
pop
track
sounding?
is different. I'm sorry.
Is it like alternative pop sounding? Like what does it sound like?
Yeah, it's like almost like dark pop goth in a
Okay.
way.
mm,
Yeah, alternative. Yeah, she's very very creative. Yeah, and I've been listening to also Cemetery Skyline. It's a new super band, if you will. They released their debut album, and yeah, just really just a lot of metal, honestly.
Interesting.
nice.
Yeah, I'm.
Mm.
I'm also like, listen. I listen to mostly metal, right? But
Yeah.
there are times that I will dabble. This weekend I've been listening to Run the Jewels. I've been listening to the new Halsey. Halsey, is that how you say her name? Halsey. The new record that she released. Charlie XCX
Mm,
has been like playing that remix
mm,
album. I've been playing it like from time to time a lot. So if there's also like this really interesting, very experimental sounding like pop artist from, I think she's based from the UK,
mm,
FK Twigs, FK Twigs or something like that.
mm,
Really
mm-hmm.
interesting as well. Just released a couple of new singles, really cool. So yeah, like it's nice to dabble from time to time and listen to other stuff. It expands kind of your
Yeah.
horizon, right?
And honestly, Abdel, like it's so surprising coming from you because even the metal that you listen to is too heavy for me. You know what I mean? So it's
Really?
nuts, but it's good to
Okay.
hear that
Wow.
you also listen to other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
Yeah.
have to
exactly.
admit, man, like I need sometimes a break from metal. I know this is a bit,
Yeah.
bit controversial. It's nice to change your palette a bit every
Yeah,
once in a while.
Hey, well, honestly,
exactly.
like especially with the stuff that we listen to, like like sometimes you just need a slight break, like just change it up a little bit,
Mm,
But
totally.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's really cool. What's the so shoegaze is also something that I've been kind of exploring a little bit recently. There's a band called Word that I've been listening to. There's also
Mm,
there's a recently also a band called Nothing. So there's a band called Nothing that released a split with another band that I really like called Full of Hell,
mm,
and that's a very interesting dark shoegaze album. I don't know if you've had the chance to
nice.
listen to it, but yeah, it's. I'll send it over to you as well. You should
Yeah,
check
I'd
it out
love
if
to
you
check
haven't.
it out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys are the same, but when it comes to certain bands or certain genres, I have to listen to them at certain times of the day. Like for
Mm.
example, Swallow the Sun, I could never listen to them during the day. It's too like literally it's
Dark.
too emotionally draining. Not even just
Yeah.
dark, but emotionally draining. It's so funny like when I'm working out at the gym and then, Swallow the Sun comes on shuffle, I immediately go and like press next or whatever. Like I can't listen to them before midnight. But I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you guys do something similar like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, when I first wake up, first thing in the morning, I can't listen to something that is just too heavy. I need something
Yeah.
that kind of, sets the mood a bit, and then I can
Yeah.
get into the heavier stuff.
You know what's funny? I
Definitely.
can't
Yeah.
listen to music in the morning. I don't like listening to music in the morning. Like in the morning, I stay away from music as much as possible. Like it's only like, yalla, by then, like after I've had my coffee and got to the
Mm.
office, did a bit of work, and then, all right, I'm still, yalla, now I can start listening to music. But like
Wow.
first thing in the morning, like
Interesting.
while I'm driving, like,
Mm.
no way, I can't do that.
Wow.
Yeah, but
So just pure silence, basically.
no, no, I mean, I listen to something, right? I'm not insane. I will
Yeah.
listen to a podcast or
A little bit insane.
exactly. Imagine like me sitting in silence in the car, just
Yeah.
raging at the traffic and morning traffic. But yeah, that's really cool. So, and I've always known that you're a big fan of Swallow the Sun and that stuff. But let's get right into it, man. Let's talk a little bit about you, Gigi. So,
Yeah.
a lot of people, we always hear like your Instagram account is very active. We always see the things that you do and the kind of initiatives and all of these events that you're around and the artists that you manage and all that. But I don't know. I don't know. You've done plenty of podcasts and a couple of interviews here and there for sure. But you know what? For whatever is worth, can you just give us an idea of like your journey, how you started this whole Heavy Arabia thing? Were you always a metalhead? Did how did this whole metalhead journey into becoming a this metal promoter, metal
Yeah.
like company journey begin?
Yeah. Yeah. So heavy metal, just of course, everybody started off maybe with rock. I started listening to rock in my early teens, and
Yeah.
then I immediately wanted to pick up an instrument to write music.
Okay.
And so the first instrument I picked up was the electric guitar. I started, trying to learn it from books. Like even YouTube back then didn't exist, or at least like wasn't accessible to us. So I remember I was buying books whenever we traveled abroad. I still have them actually, learning the chords and everything. Then I remember I joined this forum. I forgot what it was called. And there was like a thread or a sub forum, whatever you want to call it, for rock fans. And it was an Arabic forum. And there I
okay.
met, the first person, the first Saudi who was into rock and metal, and that was Yusuf Eid. If you guys know him, he calls himself J Eid online. So I remember I reached out to him and I'm like, hey, I think you're from Saudi Arabia and I like this music and we like the same bands and stuff. Because, people would post threads about, news and stuff. And then we thought, okay, why don't we start a band, like an instrumental band, and then perhaps find a vocalist and stuff. So I did that for a while, maybe for 2-3 years. We were writing songs together. We even did photo shoots and stuff like that.
Did you record
Yeah.
anything?
Oh my God. We did. We recorded stuff. But the photo shoots, like,
you have to share the
thank
pictures.
God for glow up. Like literally, thank God for glow up. It's so embarrassing. But we did it. And then I remember I joined college and it took all of my time, basically. I was such a nerd. And I decided to just give up this dream because it just didn't seem possible anyways. Like I couldn't become a rock star. I wanted to be a rock star. It wasn't possible, but I just wanted to continue listening to this music. Fast forward 5-6 years later, I graduated, started my job, and then I was like, okay, this is it. I think I'm just gonna do this, whatever job and just not, think about being involved in music. I remember it was first year in my scholarship in the States, and that's when they announced the 2030 vision.
Oh.
And this is when things started to really, look promising. I was like, well, maybe I can revisit that dream after I come back from the States.
Yeah.
So I remember I came back home, and then I was around a lot of established bands already, so I was learning, if you will, like authentically from this community. No textbooks, nothing. I was just in the middle of the discussions and stuff like that. So I was learning kind of like passively. And then Martasam Qabbani of Metal East Records noticed me at some show. I was at the airport picking up Insomnium, and he's like, who are you? I'm the promoter. Like, what are you doing here? Why are you picking up my band? Because I was at the airport there in Dubai.
In Dubai, okay,
In Dubai, yeah, trying to pick up Insomnium from the airport, and they were playing a show. So Martas was like, wait a sec, like, who are you? Why are you picking up my band? So I explained to him that I was a fangirl and I had already arranged it with their tour manager and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, fangirl, uh, sure, just don't kidnap them, but okay. So then I started attending more shows in Dubai, and Marcel Qabbani wanted to, you know, wanted me to join him in Middle East Records and invest in the shows, since I was there, like at every show basically. So I did that, and that's when my real learning started happening. I was learning from him. He was showing me a lot of samples of contracts and of basically all the communication that was happening. I was in copy, just for him
Okay.
to teach me how to do it. And then after I did that, we worked on Sepultura's show and Omnium Gatherum. And then I took like online classes in artist management and concert promotion and event management and stuff like that. It was all like just me doing my thing. I think a year later, or maybe 2 years later, oh yeah, then COVID happened and nothing was happening. Then the Ministry of Culture launched this program called Sana. It
Okay.
lasted for 8 months, and that was my first official education, basically, in music business and artist management. Um, and basically, I think that's where I learned most of the applicable things in Saudi, because everything that I learned outside of that was probably only applicable in the States, especially when it comes
Yeah,
to
it doesn't apply
contracts
to
and stuff.
us.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of those like contracts and stuff, they don't, taxes and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, so we did that, and then during lockdown I wanted to uh like create a brand that is Saudi and start something. But I was doing it very slowly because I like we couldn't tell when the ban on live events was going to be lifted. So I was doing it very slowly, working on my branding, studying the market and stuff like that. And that's when I knew I just wanted to come back to this world as an enabler of artists and not an artist anymore. And I honestly don't see it in me anymore. I can't see myself going back to the creative side of things.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the business side of things. And I think that, like, even my background and my original career path helped me a lot in this. And then
Okay.
I and I didn't have any expectations as what's gonna happen and stuff. But it's picking up nicely. It's very slow progress, but it's picking up nicely.
Did you expect when you were first
Okay.
starting that you would be getting like bands and stuff like that, or was it like, oh, I'm just gonna be supporting local musicians and helping them promote them and helping kickstarting them and just seeing how I can
Yeah.
support the local scene.
So as you know, Abdullah, when we launched Heavy Arabia, that was the ultimate goal, or that was one of the ways I was going to support our local bands. Our local bands cannot survive on their own. They need to tap into other people's fan bases, and they need the world to know about them. And that was possible by also having them collaborate with international bands, or even open for them at shows and stuff. I wasn't pushing for booking international bands right after the launch, because I just didn't even know what kind of reaction I was going to receive from the public. You know what I mean? So we did the first 2 years just locally, focusing locally. And then when I really felt like it was safe, to start booking international bands, that's when it made sense. And I think doing collaborations with international bands, like what happened with Dusk, we worked together on the release strategy, and I encouraged him to collaborate with as many international bands as possible, to also help him grow in those markets, and to help him also hopefully go on tour in those markets like Germany and the States and Finland and stuff like that. And we're already working on that, inshallah. He's gonna go on a tour hopefully
Okay.
within the next year. So yeah, it like, of course my main focus will always be local bands, and we're gonna always support them in multiple ways. One of them is, having collaborations and, opening for metal bands and stuff, international ones.
Gigi, I have a question. What can you give us an idea of what your role is exactly as a sorry, as a promoter and an artist management? What does the job involve? Just like,
Yeah.
give us an idea what that means.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just mentioned Dusk, so
Good.
that would be a good example of that, I think.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm trying to basically promote heavy metal and just make it coexist with all of the other genres that are receiving attention in Saudi Arabia. So what I'm trying to do is involve our bands and artists in public activations and public events, and just to normalize it, basically, so that people, when they hear the word rock or metal, it's not a negative thing. um, and also, like, whenever we have an initiative here in Saudi, you notice that most of the initiatives are accessible to certain, all the dominant genres, but rock and metal was never really included.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, so many of those doors I had to knock really hard until they believed me. Nobody believed that there was even rock and metal bands. Like, who are they? Where are they?
Yeah.
um, do people listen to rock and metal here? Where? You know what I mean? Those questions. So
Yeah.
this is what promotion is, basically. I'm trying to make it seen and make it visible everywhere, so that we can be involved in other bigger initiatives. And this is the goal. It's already happening, as you can see with the latest announcement of power chord competition. I think this is the first of its kind in Saudi Arabia, with the focus of rock and metal. And when it comes to artist management, basically, an artist manager is somebody who would um, join forces with an artist that they believe in and help them gain exposure and get opportunities for collaborations with brands, help them get booking opportunities locally, regionally, hopefully internationally one day. I'll also help them with their album releases, make sure that they are heard, and yeah, you just help them in multiple ways. And honestly, Dusk, I think I've said this before in an interview. Dusk, uh, I didn't even know him personally. I just
Yeah.
saw him on Instagram before I even met him, and believe it or not, I never even liked his genre, but I really liked how dedicated he was and how consistent he was. And that's basically the reason why I saw potential in him. I might like other local bands' music more for any reason, but I don't see that they're as consistent as Dusk. So there's nothing to manage there. With all due respect, when you
Yeah.
want to manage an artist, you need to have something to manage consistently, not like, you know what I mean? What happens with
Yeah.
those bands when they just release something and then they disappear and then nothing. So
Yeah.
So,
so I think Dusk ticked all the boxes for me. Yeah.
are you talking in terms of like quality or quantity?
Quantity, of course.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
of course, with artist management right now, it's you still cannot monetize as much, but
Mm.
because we still have, like, we don't, like
It's a lot
in
of
social
issues.
security
It's a,
and
like a
stuff.
it's multiple it's a like a chicken and egg problem. It's like multiple
E-
angles of this problem. Like there's not
yeah.
enough venues, so why there should be artists that are consistent, that will play with, that will release consistently
Yes.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some of them lack the motivation because they just don't see that there are opportunities to
Yes.
play live as much as they can, or maybe they just don't have the
Yeah.
facilities, or I don't know, like there's so many issues with that. So
Yeah. Exactly. But just
yeah.
to answer Mansour's question, it is also quality. Sorry,
Yeah.
quantity. It's basic. Yeah.
So this, I mean, you kind of touched on this point a bit just now, but like, metal is a very niche genre,
Yeah.
and it's a challenge, I guess, everywhere to make it
Yeah.
kind of a sustainable business. So,
Yeah.
and especially maybe in this region. So, how can you make it, into a sustainable business?
Very good question. So I mentioned this in my latest article with Sharq al-Awsat. Uh, Heavy metal in specific, if you're going to rely on heavy metal, it's not sustainable. Not
Yeah.
yet. And it is the case, by the way, worldwide, especially if you're a small band. It's not sustainable yet unless you're willing to, keep pushing and be completely patient. But our situation, what makes our situation unique is that our ecosystem, our music ecosystem, is still not even fully developed. This doesn't help us either. So it's going to take a while, but it's only a matter of time, especially that now I'm kind of in the know and I know what's happening behind the scenes, with the Ministry of Culture and Music Commission and the systems that they're working on to establish and launch, hopefully soon. It will be a game changer for everybody, for the artists and for the music business professionals alike. But I'm not in it for the money yet. I'm here to help build the ecosystem, to give a different insight. I come from from an alternative background, metal rock, so I'm pretty sure we bring a lot of perspective to the decision makers, and this is what this is why I'm still in the game and not giving up. Otherwise I would have given up, since day one. But that's not the point now. How am I sustaining the business itself? Heavy Arabia is just a brand under my main company. And my main company is actually involved in event management and staffing and other things. So I make money off of the other things outside heavy metal, and I use that income to fund those gigs and to
Oh,
help
wow.
my artists. This is what I'm
Okay.
doing right now, and because this is a question that I always get. Um, Hopefully, in the future, I can make money off of Heavy Arabia alone, but it's not happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
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 It's I'm curious. Have you ever like approached sponsors for like gigs or anything like that? And I'm just curious, like, what's the reaction usually from them? Like, is it usually like, what is this? Well, why are you even talking to us about this? Or is
Yeah.
it like, what is that conversation like?
So I think the first time I reached out to a sponsor was in 2022 for
I remember
Desert
that
Rock
was
at
the
Nofa,
that was Dune and who Dune, right? Dune played
doing Immortal Pain,
Immortal Pain,
Gimmicks,
yeah, and gimmicks. Okay,
and Heavy Professor, the DJ.
Mm.
okay,
And yeah, we did. There was a lot of skepticism because it was still too soon. Abdullah, it was
yeah,
still kind of too soon. Um, but there was interest, to be honest. There was initial interest, and I was still okay with it not happening yet. However, this year is my probably first solid project where I have like so many sponsors, both from Saudi and from
hmm,
abroad, for the power chord competition, because now we already have a solid track record since the launch basically of Heavy Arabia, and with the Cryptopsy show and Metallica show. So now people can really see that, yeah, there is a scene to support. There is a market
okay.
to help build. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for you guys to know who the sponsors are for Power Chord.
I'm super excited
Yeah.
to talk about the XP stuff. But before we get
Yeah.
there, there's one thing that I really, really need to know before we move on to the XP
Yes.
stuff. I need to know more about the Cryptopsy gig. I need to know
Yeah.
what was the conversation like in being the first. Well, first of all, reaching out to the beloved, well-respected technical death metal band based out of Canada, getting them to come here, and being the first metal gig that had an international artist in Saudi Arabia. I just, what was the steps there? Like, what was the reaction from their side? What was the questions? What was the answers? Just walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah. So we did a live stream with Matt of Cryptopsy, and somebody asked him this question actually, and he was like, Guys, we just woke up one day and we saw Saudi Arabia added to the tour flyer, and that's when we found out.
Oh
So
wow.
that was it. And it was so how it happened basically. Mu'tasam again, Mu'tasam Qabbani. I really like. I see him as my mentor, and the
Okay.
person I really owe the world to. He introduced me to their touring agency, or booking agency, basically Slaman
Yeah.
Bookings. And
Mm.
Slaman, or Gino, he had already been trying to book a lot of international bands to come play Saudi, but it was never the right time, unfortunately. Like it was either Ramadan, it was either middle of summer, nobody was home, or it was just on a like the only date that would have worked was a Wednesday, or Tuesday, and we don't do gigs on those days. So
Okay.
it just never worked. But then he came up to me and he was like, I have Cryptopsy. Would that work? So like, okay, wait a
And you're
sec.
like, I mean, why
Yeah.
not?
I was like, wait a sec. We have a lot of people who are into that kind of music, so that's cool. Um, and the date works perfectly. So yeah, let's do it. Um, so yeah, he just literally, Gino is super organized and very straightforward. So he's like, okay, this is what we need. Do you think that you have it? So, like the technical writers and stuff. I took a look at the technical writer, and I think that's the first thing that you need to look at before you even say yes to
Just
a band.
quickly
See if you
explain
can
what a
pull it off.
technical writer is. Explain what a
Yeah.
technical writer is for someone who doesn't know.
Yeah. So a technical writer it's a document that shows all of the technical needs of a band,
Yes.
including
Okay.
the
Mm.
backline, yeah, mixers, you name it. Anything that
Amplifiers, the
makes the show.
drums, anything, yeah, to get the show
Yes,
running.
Yeah.
anything,
Monitors,
anything that
yeah.
helps, yeah, makes to make the show happen. So I took a look at that. I asked everybody. I reached out to multiple uh, backline companies and even like personal vendors, like DIY. And I was like, okay, we have everything. I think we have everything. And with the technical writer, sometimes you have to match 100%, and sometimes you have to offer alternatives. And thank God the band is very flexible, and they understood that they were the first band to ever play Saudi. So not everything that they want or that they could find in Canada, they would find in Saudi. So I showed them some alternatives. I'm like, this is what we have. And they were, okay with it. Like, okay, that's cool. We can do that. Like, by the way, the drum kit was a bit small for Cryptopsy.
Ooh.
It was a bit
And
small, but
that's like an important instrument for them because
yeah,
they're known for their like super fast drumming
yeah,
Technique.
with the Flo Minier. I forgot his
yeah.
name. He was like one of the
Flow.
fastest drummers in the world or something.
Yeah, but they were super nice and flexible. You don't get that with a lot of bands, believe it or not.
Did they
So
do the red M&Ms thing where they requested only like red M&Ms or red
no.
gummy bears?
So there is a challenge there because I think only one guy, I think it was Dominic, that was not vegetarian. And I
Oh.
think everybody else was vegetarian. If I'm not mistaken,
Oh,
I
interesting.
forgot, totally forgot. Sorry, Dominic,
Yeah.
if you're listening. But yeah, so that was a real challenge because in Saudi, you don't have a lot of options for vegans,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a contract to sign, and you need to provide whatever they want, like vegan pizza in Riyadh. Good luck, you know.
Oh,
So,
Yeah.
but so yeah, like there was a little bit of challenge there, but otherwise it was perfect.
No, it
They were
was
happy to
amazing.
come here. Yeah,
No, it was
to
amazing.
be
Like
honest,
people.
it took us. Yeah, go
No,
ahead,
no,
go
go
ahead,
ahead. Go
Abdullah.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just we announced it I think 3 weeks before the show happened, but like I would have wanted it to be announced way earlier, but we had also logistical issues with the venue, so it had to be delayed. But at the end of the day, we were 20 tickets away from a sold out show, and I'm happy with that. It was
oh, that's
awesome.
very nice. That's a
Yeah.
Very
success
good.
story right there. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I
the
remember
guys
when
really
I
loved
posted it
it.
on my Instagram. Like everybody, like people from Egypt, people from Dubai, were like, "What? Cryptopsy's dude! If I didn't have, I don't know
Oh
what, I would
man.
have come. I would have." It's like, it's insane. And then everybody was like, "Yalla, get Cannibal Corpse next. Get I don't know what next." Like everybody's just dropping names and saying,
Yeah, Would
I
love
mean,
to have.
honestly, it was the last band that I thought would have come here. You know, like I
Me
thought
too.
maybe it would start like with Metallica, some of the bigger names, and then work our way up to like Cryptopsy or something.
No,
Yeah,
But
Gigi
that
brutal
was
just like
death.
such
in
a
your face, like in your face. Let's get the most tech death metal band. And
I think that in itself is metal as hell, you know.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty metal.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
pretty punk. It's pretty metal. I have two stories. I'm gonna say quickly here.
please.
I'm gonna apologize to Cryptopsy for this, but
No
so
worries.
I came to the venue. Gigi had asked me to come and kind of do a record the show, the set for creative waste, which we're playing with Cryptopsy. So I was there early, and I came backstage in the green room where there was food and stuff for the band and all of that. And I came in and I was like, "Oh man, I'm so hungry!" And I started eating from the food in the green room. And then like Faisal from 966 from the band 966, he pulled me to the side. He's like, Abdullah, come here, come here. And he just pulled me. He's like, dude, stop eating their food. And it was just like a funny moment. The second cool moment though is that the
Yeah.
bassist, he saw me. I was wearing an End shirt, one of my favorite bands called End, and the guitarist from
Yeah.
that band is a famous producer. His name is Will Putney. And when he saw me wearing the shirt,
Mm.
he's like, "Did they come to Saudi Arabia?" I was like, "No, of course not. They didn't come to Saudi. You guys are the first international band to ever come here." And I was like,
Yeah.
"No, I saw them in the States." And he's like, "Let me take a picture with you. I'll send it to Will Putney. I'll tell him you have fans in Saudi Arabia." I don't know if you ever
They're the
sent that
nicest.
message to him. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if he ever did that, but like I just thought that was a really funny and kind of an interesting,
That was a cool
nice
moment.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but all right, dude, I want to talk about this XP stuff. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, you mentioned it a little bit. You want to tell us a little bit more about the. You want to start off telling us the power core stuff, or you want to talk about the gig that was announced there, the showcase?
Let's talk about Power Chord since it was announced before the showcase. How about that?
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, tell us a little bit about what this power chord event is.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, it's
The
taking
power.
place in XP. So for everybody that doesn't know, XP is an event that's taking place between the 5th and the 7th of December. It's organized by Middle Beast, and Gigi has a showcase there. So what's up with the Power Chord event that's happening there?
So the Power Chord is a new initiative launched by XP Music Futures, and it's a guitar competition that basically with the aim of discovering the guitarists, and talented guitarists in the region. And because it's, we've been focusing a lot on bands, but not on instrumentalists or just people who like to play instruments and not necessarily have bands. So we wanted to do that, and XP reached out to me and wanted to see if we would be down for collaborating and making it happen. So yeah, this power chord competition is basically it's now open. The application is open, and we're gonna have a pool of applicants where we're going to filter and just shortlist 10 contestants, and then those 10 will go and compete at XP. And then we're going to have 4 finalists, and the 4 finalists are also going to compete again, and we're going to end up with 3 top winners. And the winners, every one of them is going to receive actually a group of prizes. It's honestly, I'm very proud with the selection that we have as prizes, thanks to our sponsors. We have guitar manufacturers, we have
Oh,
music stores. Yeah, we have. Yeah,
ooh,
the grand prize is a big surprise. So
Oh,
then
oh,
we have
nice.
yep, and we have, of course, guitar plugins, one of the famous companies
I
giving
think
away
I know who it is.
plugins.
I
mm.
Maybe,
mean, it's the best one in the market right now. So I know, I probably know who you are right. You're talking about
maybe,
right now.
maybe, or
Yeah.
maybe it's something else. So
Does it
yeah,
does it
and
rhyme with does it rhyme with Whirl PSP?
well, there is a DSP there. There
Yeah.
is a DSP. There's a
Yeah.
DSP.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, and then the basically the winners are gonna also get one-on-one feedback. And then we're going to see how we can develop them after the competition, maybe help them start bands, maybe mentor them. Like, we're going to see how we can develop them further. It's not just, okay, we found you, here are gifts, bye. Like, we want to see how we can develop them and make them valuable members of the community. So yeah, then we're going to announce also a panel of judges. We're going to have 6 of them. I personally wanted to involve female judges as well. So we're going to have 2 female judges. We wanted to have 3, but the third one dropped. She dropped the project last minute due to unforeseen circumstances. So yeah, and the judge panel is also going to be amazing.
Nice.
Maybe you
So
can connect
the judging
the
panel
dots,
was not
but
announced?
yeah, not yet. But it's
Oh,
going to be
okay.
announced. Yeah,
so how many judges are there going to be?
6.
6. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, cool. So, okay,
Cool.
just to recap, the way it's going to be is that people will apply.
Yeah.
Out of all those applicants, you guys will filter. They will send in like audition tapes, probably, or audition videos, or something like that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And out of those, 10 of them will be selected to perform at XP in front of a live
Correct.
audience, in front of the judging panel or judge panel.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then the winner from there is going to get the prizes, the potential
We're gonna have
mentoring,
4.
coaching.
Mm.
So what? 4
So
winners.
10. Then it's 10 competing, and
Ah.
then 4 finalists. Then those
Oh.
4
Okay.
will compete, and then we're gonna have 3 top winners based on like a point system.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time. I mean, this is, dude. This is like, kind of, this is pretty common. It happens in a lot of different, places. We've seen like guitar competitions all around the world, but it's like here, Saudi, like this is. I don't think, and also at a scale where like you're getting awards and guitars potentially, like you mentioned, guitar manufacturers, plugins,
Mm-hmm.
big names like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
It is. We're very proud of it, honestly, and hopefully, like next year, we're gonna have a standalone guitar fest. So we'll see how we can expand that, inshallah.
Yeah.
And what about the other announcement?
The showcase. Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
want to know about the showcase?
Give us an idea of what we can expect from this.
Well, first
Yeah.
of all,
So
actually, no. Let's take 2 steps back here.
yeah.
Again, how did you convince XP? You know what, guys? I have this band called Sigil. Here's the CD. Listen to them. I think they'll be great for XP. How did that happen? I mean, Kiko, all right, Massive Scar era as well are interesting, but like Sigil, like
Yeah.
I want to know how this conversation happened. How did you convince them this?
It's so funny. So this is how it goes with XP. You send a proposal with all the bands that you wanna, you would like to have on XP. And you know me, Abdullah, I like to give equal opportunity to everybody. So I literally ask XP to choose a band from each province, even. So I have like bands from Jeddah, Riyadh, Khobar. And specifically, out of all the bands from Khobar, they're like, we want Sinjil. Out of all the bands from Khobar, we want Sinjil. I'm like, that's your first choice? And
That's
I
interesting.
literally had like, I had it between brackets saying, not for the faint hearted. I literally wrote that in the proposal, like, yeah, we want those in specific. So it was an easy choice for them, Sajil. And I don't know,
Nice.
dude, like, I've always wanted to see Sajil live. And Hussein, like, I hope he's watching this. He makes the best mean faces, when he plays the guitar. I don't know if you've seen
Stank
him
face.
like play with Creative Waste. He's so mean. I love his stage presence. So imagine if it's his band.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking forward to that. So yeah,
Yeah.
Sinjil was their first choice. It was.
I think it aligns. I think it aligns with XP's like, well, first of all, like XP's kind of ethos of diverse music for everybody,
Yes.
for learning, for
Yeah.
to expand your horizon. XP morning, you're doing workshops, you're learning new things, you're learning stuff about the industry, about different music stuff, blah blah blah. And then at night, you're getting to explore that stuff, where you're hearing
Yes.
stuff that's more traditional, stuff that's more mainstream, stuff that's weird, like metal, tech death, and I don't know what. So like people who are into EDM are gonna come and be like, all right, let's see what's going on here, and they're gonna see Hussein. They'll be like, all right, thanks guys.
Yeah.
Where's the door? It's over there. All right. But I'm
Yeah, it's
actually
good.
I'm really looking forward to this. Massive Scar Air is one of those really interesting bands as well. I find her the way she mixes traditional folk Egyptian music with metal as well. That's very interesting.
Mm.
Uh,
It is
Kiko
amazing. Yeah.
Kiko is a legend. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Kiko, I've been talking to his agent for over a year now,
Yeah.
actually. And his agent has a roster of all of the legendary guitarists, not just Kiko. And I had been trying to book one of his other guitarist artists to come and give a workshop, but for whatever reason, it never happened. So then I'm like, okay, what about XP? It would make sense, to have somebody as legendary as Kiko. So I reached out again, and Kiko, there was there was another option actually, another famous guitarist, but that one didn't work either. He was on tour.
Okay.
So Kiko, it was an easy yes from Kiko, and we were actually shocked, like how fast we heard back from Kiko. He was really interested in, yeah. So yeah, this is how it happened, and we have more announcements about Kiko actually, not just this showcase.
Oh,
Oh, cool. Okay,
nice.
Yeah,
so he's gonna be more involved in XP, I guess, and other stuff.
inshallah. Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, Kaiser, of
Um,
Bye.
course, I don't know if anybody knows, like Kaiser is a band that I've, helped with producing their stuff as well,
Yeah.
their music, the two singles they've released so far, and the last one, which I particularly happy with the way it sounds.
Amazing.
Immediately Azam, like the singer from Kaiser, like when this announcement came up, he just sent me a message, all caps. We're gonna be playing with Kiko. We're gonna be playing on the same stage with Kiko. And it's like, yeah, dude, great job. Honestly, like
no.
this is such a great opportunity for young upcoming bands and even like local
Yes.
bands and everything like that. It's such
Exactly.
a very exciting opportunity for a
Exactly.
band like
Yeah.
Kaiser, who only has two singles. They've barely performed, like the as
Yes.
in, again, we talked about how challenging it is to find time or
Yeah.
find venues to perform and stuff like that. So every chance they had to perform, they went and they did there. So they did like 4 performances locally, and then and now like they're gonna be playing with Kiko on the stage. They get to say that we've played
Yes.
with a legendary guitarist, the current touring musician for
Yeah.
Megadeth. How amazing is that?
Dude, honestly, I live for these moments.
Yeah.
To see the excitement in the eyes of our younger artists specifically. I live for these moments, and this is actually the cool thing about, honestly, Saudi Arabia. Like, when they say we dream and we achieve, we really do. And we're not bragging when we say it, but everything
Yeah.
is possible here in Saudi, and we're very lucky to be able to put such bands together on the same stage, and give those guys even more motivation to keep going. I really believe in Kaiser, especially that they're
Yeah.
young, and I want them to one day actually consider music as their main career path, hopefully. I'm super
Yeah.
excited for that, صراحة.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
super great on stage, man. Very
Yeah,
passionate and very heavy. Like
super
it's
passionate.
it's not to be missed, not to be
Yeah,
missed at all. I
and they
have
have
a
a
question
great fan base.
actually.
Yes, Mansour.
So sorry, you were saying your point?
I was just saying that they have a great fan base as well, very loyal.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, they really know how to engage with the crowd as well in their shows.
Mm.
So definitely, it's something to see. Um, on the subject of XP, this year especially, there's a lot of focus on metal. Especially, I've seen like one of the panel discussions going to be revolved around metal. So I just
Yes.
wanted to know, like,
Mm.
how did that happen? Why is there like a lot of focus on metal this time?
Well, because I'm
Because of
not
you.
trying to be cocky. Yeah, I'm not trying to be cocky,
Oh,
but
oh,
it's because of Heavy
uh,
Arabia.
a certain okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Wallah, I'm not being cocky, but honestly, like all
Yeah.
of these panels, we proposed,
Yeah.
and that Middle East panel, I think, is very important. That's our opportunity to talk about this genre, not just about Saudi Arabia, but also the region. And that's why we picked people from Egypt, from Lebanon, Saudi Arabia. We have Faisal as the moderator there. I didn't need to be there. We have Faisal, and then we have Lewis. Basically, Lewis
Yeah.
is Kiko's manager, and he has worked in the United Arab Emirates, so he has a perspective on. He's gonna bring his expectations of the growth of this genre basically in the region, since he's had so many of his projects.
Mm.
We're gonna have another panel also dedicated to metal. You're gonna see it very soon. So yeah, like we need these conversations at platforms like XP Music Futures, for because XP, you have a lot of investors that visit XP. I'm not sure if you know about this or
Mm.
not, but a lot of investors visit XP. They see what's there to invest in. They talk to artists. They talk to brands. There's even I think there's a segment where people pitch projects in front of
Yeah.
investors, and then
Yeah.
they see, if there's potential for investment. So when you have these conversations in front of investors, maybe you'll catch someone's eye, and then maybe they want to be on board.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. This is going to be my first, yeah, inshallah, I bought my tickets, so hopefully this will be my first XP, and hopefully nothing comes up and I end up like every year like not being able to go. So I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty excited to go this year. And
Yeah, and tell people to use our code. Now we have a new code,
mm,
heavy 20,
okay,
heavy all
okay.
caps 20, and this should take off 20%,
awesome. Okay,
basically.
we'll put that in our description, of course, along with all the links
Yeah.
for XP, for also the stuff that Gigi discussed today
Mm.
in terms of her music as well. We'll be updating our playlist as well. One last thing before we wrap
Mm.
up, there was you recently did like an event that had Nader in it. Could you tell us a little bit about this? I wasn't able to attend. I wasn't there. So what was this event for?
I love
What was the outcome of it? What happened there?
Yeah, so as you know, Nader is literally one of the most valuable members in our community. And he recently retired, as you know. So we wanted to do something for Nader just to show him that we value him and that we respect him as one of the most important members in our music community. So I have done an event with the Ames before. So Katie reached out to me and she was like, "How about we do something like again, and let's do an unplugged show."
Okay.
So of course I immediately thought of Nader and reached out to Nader, and Nader's always enthusiastic about doing something. So yeah, it just happened very naturally, very smoothly, and we got to spend an amazing night with Nader with a super random playlist. But that's Nader.
Yeah.
Like he did Khaliji songs, he did metal, he
Oh,
did punk,
Nice.
he
that's really
did
cool.
covers of Tash Matash, cover of Adnan Walina, and then he ended the playlist with the Salam al Watani.
Oh,
So
Nice.
you think whatever you want to think of the playlist, but it was amazing.
yeah.
Honestly, yeah, it was just awesome. We got to catch up with a lot of friends and make new ones. There was new
Yeah.
faces there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not Nader is a force to be reckoned with for sure, and
Yes.
he's an amazing guitarist as well, and you know, العمر كله man, and I know that he's retired today, so he gets to enjoy this. Hopefully, that means we'll get to see more Sound of Ruby stuff, and maybe we'll see
Yes.
more
Inshallah.
Sound of
Definitely.
Ruby live performances, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Uh, all right, Gigi.
Actually, I have one question, one
Oh, one
last
more question.
question.
All right, one last
One
question
more
before we wrap it
question.
up.
Yeah.
It's the Metallica concert that happened last year was, of course, one of the biggest things to happen, like for metal here, obviously.
Yeah.
Can we expect more big names in the future, perhaps?
From heavy metal, of course. Of course,
Yeah.
yes. If you book the final boss of metal, you can book
The final boss of metal.
for real, Of
Yeah.
course, you can
Yeah.
book. Yeah, inshallah. We don't know if we're gonna have them this year,
Yeah.
but of course, I don't see why. Are you guys coming to Soundstorm this year?
I would love to. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to see. I'm definitely planning on making coming to XP like with Abdullah and stuff, but
Yeah.
still pending on the Soundstorm
Yeah,
thing.
Mm.
Soundstorm is also pending for me, unless they make like a huge announcement, something to the caliber of, Metal. Like if they say, and like I know that they, for a show like Soundstorm, they'll need to get like something a bit more popular, right? So that, because it to fit in, just like
Yeah.
Metallica, it's a bit mainstream.
Mm.
So if they say like Corn, or if they say like
Oh
System of a
yeah.
Down, or if they say
Yeah.
like Bring Me the Horizon or something like that,
Yes.
getting my ticket immediately and I'm coming, like I don't even if they say like Blink 182, Green Day, something like that, Foo
Yeah.
Fighters.
All the nostalgic
Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah. It would make a
Yeah.
lot of sense for me to go then. At this stage, I mean, Muse, huge respect, but I was never really that big of a fan. 30 Seconds to Mars, like I'm only into one song. So
Mm.
I'm not sure that. I mean, if I would go, I'd probably go to see Eminem, or like Tyler the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creator or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Before Soundstorm, we have the second part of Riyadh Music Week. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that.
no,
Uh,
well,
so Riyadh Music Week basically starts with XP Music Features, and then we're gonna have 3 more days, which is 8, 9, 10.
Mm.
That's gonna be basically activations all over Riyadh. So we're gonna have also another metal night, but we
ooh,
haven't
Oh,
announced it.
nice.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a whole week of heavy metal, which is cool. So
Oh,
nice.
yeah,
nice.
keep your
Yeah.
eyes on the heavy metal on Heavy Arabia's Instagram.
Exactly. Yeah,
Nice.
we're gonna put all those links in our descriptions and stuff. So
Um,
the Heavy Arabia links, the Heavy Arabia Instagram account, so that you can stay up to date. But all right, Gigi. So I know we talked about a lot of stuff, but now it's your opportunity. We're gonna wrap this up, okay? Any last shout outs? Any last things you want to tell our listeners to do before we end the episode? Any, what accounts should they follow? What they should they do? Anything that they should do before we wrap up?
I don't know. I don't even know what to say anymore. But dude, just when drop an album. I think this is my shout out. Pressure Abdullah into releasing a new album.
I'll do it for you then. Go follow
Please.
Gigi on Heavy Arabia. Go to the XP links that we're going to put in the description so that you can go and see the shows, the showcase, the power chord competition. And follow Heavy Arabia for the more news regarding events that will happen soon.
Gigi,
Thank you so much
يعطيك
for being here.
العافية. Thank you so much, والله.
Really enjoyed it. Thank you guys.